If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. Hello, Last on the Road subscribers and followers. I've said before, and I made a video about Carolyn. She's got social anxiety, and it's pretty bad, pretty serious, and she's had a pretty tough life. She doesn't really have a lot of expectations out of life. She doesn't imagine a better world for herself. She's a pretty tough lady. It's kind of hard to impress her. We've been on this adventure for a year, and I mean, I think she's happy. I do. I really think she's happy. But I've shown her some pretty amazing things, and rarely do I get to see a smile from her, because she's always expecting for the other shoe to drop, the bad thing. We get to a location and she's sure that something bad going to happen. So, I take her to these spots and I think, well, what do you think? And she'll say, oh, that's nice. And I'm sitting there just drooling over it. Well, I've gotten to the point where I don't really ask anymore. I just kind of see if I can see that glimmer in her eye and see if she's happy. Well, today I saw it. I saw that little sparkle in her eye. We were walking this beautiful Badlands, and she kind of said, boy, that is beautiful. Will you take a picture of it? Well, and so I asked her, I said, do you like it? And of course she does her standard answer, well, it's all right. I said, is it, everything you imagine? Yeah. And so I asked the question. I think this is the first time I ever asked her the question. I said, what did you imagine before we started this life? What did you think it was going to be like? And I was really surprised by her answer, given that I know her personality, and she doesn't really expect a lot out of life. She just kind of gets through it. She said, I really expected more places like this, out here in the middle of nowhere with nobody around, which of course that is, and with all this beauty, which is exactly what I guess I would have expected from her in the end when she answered it, because she was hoping for beauty out here in the middle of nowhere. And I said, well, you haven't had that? And she says, well, no, we haven't had that. We've always been around somebody or something has went wrong. No, most of the time it's out in the national forest, and the national forests are nice and all, but not this kind of beauty. I said, well, whatever gave you the thought that everything was going to be like that all the time? And she said, YouTube. And that's what's interesting. And I just got a post today from the comments on one of my videos who said the same thing, that YouTube gives this unreasonable viewpoint of what this lifestyle is going to be like. YouTube shows it that you're just going from one magnificent spot to another magnificent spot, but it's almost impossible to do on a budget. Most of the places that you will find don't have everything you need. They don't have a dump station, they don't have water, they don't have internet or cell phone signal so you can have internet. So when you watch these YouTube channels, they always have their tanks emptied, they always have internet so they can upload their videos. That's actually not very realistic. Carolyn and I, as I just said, have made a lot of sacrifices to see things like this. We've sacrificed not seeing things like this because we need those resources. We need to be able to have water. We need to be able to have internet. Now, we don't have sanitary tanks we have to dump, so that's not a big issue for us, but the others are. Well, what these other YouTubers are not explaining is they come out to these locations and they spend a day or two, and then when their tanks are full and they're out of water, then they move on. The other thing they do is they drive to town all the time so they can have internet. You'll hear them all the time. Well, I had to go to the restaurant or this store to get internet because I didn't have a signal. Well, this is all very expensive. If you're wanting to stay out here and enjoy this country for 2 weeks, we don't have it. Fortunately, with this spot, this is what makes this spot so nice, is it's 7 miles from town. That is very unusual. The closest we've ever been to town before was 30 miles. That means you got to drive 30 miles to get water, 30 miles to get internet, 30 miles to dump your tanks. That's very expensive if you keep coming back to this spot. So I want to point out that don't fall in the trap that Carolyn fell into, which I was very surprised. Again, I was very surprised that she fell into it. That these YouTube channels are showing you the realistic lifestyle, because it's not. Realistically, tomorrow we're going to have to pack everything up and go to town and get some water. Realistically. And we're going to have to come back. Now, if it was 30 miles away, we probably wouldn't get to come back. But since it's only 7, it's a very reasonable trip. These spots like this are very rare. As a matter of fact, we've never seen it. The only other spot that we've had that was absolutely magnificent was the city park. Now, it did not have this beauty, but it had water and it had bathrooms and it was near town. It had cell phone signal. It was very strong. So, but these spots are very rare. But to find this beauty, to be able to camp on a beach somewhere, it's very rare. You can do it, but only if you got a lot of money. So you can, you know, what these YouTubers are going to do is they'll stop here, they'll stay a day or two, and then they go to a paid site to get water and sand tanks. A lot of them I hear go to state parks and pay, you know, 15, 20 bucks. I hear it all the time. Well, this campsite's $20. Well, that's very unreasonable if you're going to be out here all the time and you're trying to live on a budget, because these YouTubers also talk about living on a budget. So it's contradicting what they're saying. You can do this very cheaply, but you gotta have to go and pay every now and then. So don't get sucked into that. It's always going to be this beautiful spot out in the middle of nowhere with nobody around, because it's very unlikely. Have a realistic expectation that most of your time is going to be kind of dull, uneventful, and then there's going to be these amazing moments where, yes, this does it. This is it. So, hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click like if you like the video. And happy travels.